Today on Forbes, Meta is recruiting former Pentagon officials as it ramps up military ambitions. Meta is courting national security and former Pentagon officials to help sell its virtual reality and AI services to the federal government, Forbes has learned. Multiple former government officials said they were aware of the recruiting efforts. Meta, which recently opened up its Llama AI model for military use, has long maintained lobbyists in D.C., but almost half a dozen current open roles indicate it is bolstering its efforts to secure lucrative government contracts. The company is seeking 2 public policy managers, including one to focus on the White House, preferably with a security clearance and previous Pentagon work, to, quote, lead our outreach to national security and foreign policy agencies within the executive branch of the U.S. government on both policy issues and adoption of our technologies. In January, Meta hired Francis Brennan, a former Trump advisor, to lead strategic communications out of D.C. Another recent hire, who according to their LinkedIn, worked for an undisclosed federal government agency for more than a decade, posted about joining Meta to focus on its, quote, intelligence sharing with the government. In December, the employee posted on LinkedIn, quote, whether it's protecting national security or strengthening the platforms that billions rely on, I'm grateful for the opportunities that allow me to give back. Meta declined to comment. The move comes amid CEO Mark Zuckerberg's ongoing charm offensive to win over the Trump administration, looking for leniency as Meta fights a federal antitrust lawsuit aiming to break it up. After donating $1 million to Trump's inauguration committee, Zuckerberg announced Facebook was ending its third-party fact-checking program, a longtime target of conservatives who claimed Facebook's moderators unfairly penalized them. He abolished the company's diversity team, appointed UFC chief and Trump ally Dana White to Meta's board, and elevated longtime Republican lobbyist Joel Kaplan to chief of global affairs. President Donald Trump once said Zuckerberg, quote, should be jailed for life, but appears to have warmed up to the tech leader. They met at Mar-a-Lago in November, and the tech chief attended Trump's inauguration. Zuckerberg recently bought a $23 million home in D.C. Meta has not yet announced any direct contracts with the Pentagon or national security agencies, but it's clear that like Google and OpenAI, the social media giant sees vast commercial upside in building a government business. It has some previous federal contracts for advertising and marketing social media posts, according to procurement records. Shana Marshall, who focuses on international affairs at George Washington University, said, quote, Meta is seeing every other big tech firm and reading the tea leaves, seeing that maybe the expected windfall from civilian use of AI is not going to appear. If you are looking for a money spigot that's never going to get turned off, you go to the Pentagon. Meta, which announced in November that it would allow Llama to be used by the military and national security agencies, said it had been working with Palantir and Scale AI along with defense contractors Leidos, Lockheed Martin, and Booz Allen, the latter of which is using Llama to replace paper documents on the International Space Station. At the time, the company said, quote, it is in both America and the wider democratic world's interest for American open source models to excel and succeed over models from China and elsewhere. For years, big tech companies were reluctant to allow their AI technologies to be used by the military, fueled by concerns from outside critics and their own employees that AI could be used to make fatal decisions on the battlefield. But as other Silicon Valley software companies like Palantir and Scale AI secured hundreds of millions in government contracts, big AI companies have recently jumped back on the national security train to support the U.S. military. For full coverage, check out David Jeans's piece on forbes.com. This is Kieran Meadows from Forbes. Thanks for tuning in.